Welcome to the Unfiltered and United podcast, the very first episode. I'm your host, Lynn Kay, and this is where we share real stories, unfiltered, and where people can be unapologetically human. So today, we have a very special guest that has not just gone through the journey of raising a child with autism, but has used her journey to inspire other parents, to having workshops inspiring other people. So, welcome, Samantha Damon.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here today and congratulations on your very first episode.
So, Samantha, before we start, I would just like you to introduce yourself and give a little background of who Samantha Damon is.
Okay, so I am Samantha Damon. I am the baby sister of 4 other sisters. We are a very musically inclined family. And I'm a mother. Like I said, I'm a sister. I'm a girlfriend. I am also into philanthropy with the Rainbow Safe Foundation and an advocate for special needs families because my son was diagnosed with autism in 2017. So that is me in a nutshell.
Okay, so there's something I learned about you. You used to be a rapper before. Tell us about
Yes.
that.
So
There's not only one singer.
No, there isn't just one singer. So
Okay.
before there was a Salome, there was Hot Damn Sam. So when I was about from the age of 18 to 14, I was in a rap crew called 4 Feet Deep, which a lot of people don't know. Like I said, my stage name was Hot Damn Sam. And we used to do a lot of like school functions, and we used to do a lot of community work with our rap music. And we were on KTV. We did some interviews on Channel O as well. But to be a child artist, especially in South Africa, it can be very tricky, as you can imagine. If it's already so hard for adults to be in the music industry and how it goes, and management and the business side and all of that stuff, it can be very tricky. And the thing is, with my parents, because I was so young doing it, the people that got us involved in all of this stuff, they merely saw it as a hobby. So when I needed an outfit and all of that stuff, they used to get all of that things for me, just thinking that it was a hobby and it was just something that was playful. But I think that if it was something that we were going to take a little bit more seriously, it would have been a lot difficult being a child star.
And tell me, how was the experience for you through that journey of being a rapper?
The
Or you can
experience
give us
was,
a rap line there.
of course I can. The experience was extremely fun. I just felt like I was on a camp, like on a fun camp with the rappers and the people that was involved in the music industry at that time. It wasn't as serious, like I just said, because my parents never really got involved with the business side of it. So I'm going to give you a little something of my past life. So here we go. Okay, now Ron can it be GC, we be blowing the MIC in your facility easily. Then I be bumping the thoughts out of the dungeon. I soak up attraction like sponge. I keep it strong when the house is bumping. Ik was een rapper geweest.
Tell me, why did you stop?
The thing is, because, to be honest with you, because of the business side becoming a little bit too tricky, we went to go and do a whole lot of shows and tours and things like that, but we never got paid for it. And because, like I just said, because our families took it as a hobby, and we were getting to the age where it was going into high school also, so I needed to decide, is my education more important, or is the music, being in the music industry important? I mean, if I am still in the music industry, even as a child, I should get paid and compensated for it. So the older you get, the wiser you get. And then I just decided that education was more important for me.
Let's go over to the family side. So you, the youngest of 4 sisters. How was it growing up with 4 sisters older than you?
So very big personalities.
Okay, Sandra's in the audience.
Yes.
Don't feel offended, Sandra.
Actually, nobody actually knows, but Sandra's actually the quiet one out of the bunch.
She is?
Yes, Sandra and Sophia. I would say Sophia is the quiet one and right next to it. It's Sandra, but also within context because if we are all together, it's a whole different story. So being in a family like that, it gives you almost push to have a whole lot of confidence because of being the youngest one and I was a little bit spoiled and all of that stuff. My sisters at the same time also kept me humble. I was one of the only ones out of all my sisters that could go to a private school, a girls' school. So that's why I'm so like, I'm so demure.
Yes.
That is the reason why I am like this because you can see I went to a girls' school. And anyway, so the thing is, with all of that, comes a whole lot of different lifestyle, a whole lot of different friends that comes from a lot of privilege and we didn't necessarily come from that. So that's the thing with my sisters, we keep each other humble. Omdat ek nou vriende geheer het, wat nou op je status het, dan heb ik gezegd, nee girl, when I come home, los haar accent van jou, na? En los haar maniertjes van jou. And then at the same time is like, I never feel like I'm alone.
Yeah.
Through every path of my life, every journey that I have with my son, with my divorce, everything I've ever gone through, not only because I'm the younger sister, but each and every one of my sisters have always brought something special into my life. And they really are truly my best friends, Even if they weren't my sisters, they would definitely be my best friends.
And I know they're all probably watching now, besides Sandra sitting here. If there's anything that you can say to each one individually, what would it be?
I would say, let me just start with Sandra because we spend a lot of time together and we get on each other's nerves all the damn time. I will just say to Sandra that I really see her as somebody that is a second mommy to Glamar. I feel like as he's been growing up, she's definitely going to be that person because every child is not going to be open to their mother at all times. They grow up, they get their own personalities, but I know that she's always going to be the one that's going to be a soft place for Lamar to fall. With my relationship with Salome, I feel like we are so alike. And the thing is,
no, you are not so you are alike.
Yes. I feel like with us, is like there's never a dull moment. And because of that, the music industry and that thing that we have in common, we always have something to talk about. And the thing is, like, Salome is a person that brings so much joy to a room. She is just like so hilarious. So she really fills my cup in that way. When I go and visit her, whenever I leave, I just feel like, that was like the best time with my best friend. And then what Sophia has really stepped in for me a lot of times when it comes to something that I don't really share very often. So I suffer from depression and I've been suffering from depression for 11 years. And that journey has become a lot better. She has always been that person that I can go to her after my psychology appointment or whatever. And I would go to her and I would say, like today wasn't a good day, but I went to go see my psychologist and this is what happened. And Sophia will always make me see things a different way. Meaning that look at everything that I have, look at Lamar that I have, look at all the great friends that I have, look at Lynn that I have in my life. Look at all of these people that never ever gives up on me. And she makes sure that I always put myself on a pedestal. And then there's a sister of mine that not a lot of people know about. Sonia has been very instrumental in my life. She has chosen a path that is a little bit destructive, and I don't really want to go into that because I need to respect her children as well. But she wasn't always that person. Sonia is somebody that was a very, very amazing singer. She sounds exactly like Anita Baker, and she honestly is the person that taught me so much about the confidence that I have. Like I remember a time in my life when I was a lot younger and I used to be so scared of like, do I look right in this? Am I going to be okay in this spaces? Am I going to be accepted in certain spaces? Going to a private school and being from Mitchell's Plain and then being invited into spaces like a party in Camps Bay, a get-together here. I lived with Sonia in my matric year, and me and her would talk about that. And Sonia always made me feel reassured. She always made me feel like, of course you can be in that spaces. of course you are worthy. And that is something that she's brought into my life. And I see all of that qualities in Zella. Like, as Zella has grown into a young woman, there's so much qualities of her mother that I see in her, even though I don't get to have the relationship that I would like to have with her. I'm so thankful that I see it now in Zella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Zella. Tell me, Sam, when did your journey begin with Lamar?
So my journey with Lamar and the whole autism started when I was in a relationship for 12 years, but married for 2 years, which is actually quite sad. And then when Lamar was around 2 years old, that's around the time I got a divorce. And with all of that also came with now Lamar having to go to creche and things like that. And I always used to notice whenever I used to go pick up Lamar from creche, Lamar would play alone in the corner. And all the other kids would interact with each other. And I think that was the first time I realized that though I've never really experienced abandonment issues, but I felt it so much for him, even though he had no idea that he was sitting by himself playing all the time. But I think that was the very first time I noticed that something was a bit different with Lamar. And then after that, I used to take Lamar regularly to his checkups at the pediatrician. Shout out to Dr. Loubser at Malamed in Mitchell's Plain. And every time I used to go there and have an appointment, he would ask me about certain milestones. But at the same time, Lamar was not hitting his milestones. I was also going through a heartache of a relationship and a marriage that didn't work out. And now I can feel in my gut that there's something seriously wrong with my son. Yeah. And I know that somehow I'm going to have to do this by myself. That was the very first signs of seeing that he had autism.
And then what was your first reaction or the emotions you felt when you heard the doctor say that your son is diagnosed with autism?
To be honest with you, I think that every person that has ever gone through that, you, especially as a mother, you kind of already know there's something, you don't have the language for it. You don't have your child has autism for it. But there's always something in your gut that tells you that something is not right. You just don't have the language for it. So the day that I was in that doctor's office and she said, we've now done the test and Lamar's got autism. It felt as if Lamar was playing with the toys in the corner. There was things happening around, but it felt like everything just stopped like that moment. And there's ladies speaking, I just like, oh, you know that, oh. I just felt to me like that. And the worst part of that situation was that financially, I needed to have my ex-husband's help with that because that test was extremely expensive. So he's sitting next to me, Lamar, as man gespin. And immediately, as she was saying that, I was like, I probably should have questions to ask. Yeah. And then, of course, he was the one that said, no, hang on, he can't have autism. He must have a problem because his mother left me. We're going through a divorce. There must be the trauma from this that is happening. I don't know if this is autism. And the more she was explaining to us that his diagnosis was not our fault. It wasn't a pregnancy thing. It's a neurological thing that is happening to him. But there's help for him. Yeah. That very moment was really the time for me to take it all in, to ask the questions, to help my son. But that was not my experience. He walked out of there very upset. And I remember the day so clearly at Constantia Hospital. That was very quiet. And as he walked, Lamar ran down the corridor. It sounds so like a movie, but it's my real life. And he ran down the corridor. And Lamar ran after him. And of course, I had to get Lamar and let his dad go and compose myself to hear what the rest of the thing was. But that was the day I had to get Lamar, and it was a big tantrum. And then she told me what my next steps was. So very traumatic, but yes.
I must say, if we look at Lamar today and from the connection that I had with him so far, you won't even say Lamar has autism.
Yeah.
Hy is soos 'n groot man. Helemaal. Tell me, Sam, what is one of the hardest things that you went through besides finding out Lamar has autism, and how did that experience shape you?
I think the hardest thing with finding out that Lamar has autism, I would say two things was the hardest thing. I really think that irrespective if you are divorced or the relationship didn't work out, or when you find out something that is a lifelong journey, that there's so many things that's going to be impacted. You're going to have to go to OTs, you're going to have to go see a social worker, you're going to have to go see a speech therapist. It really does help to know that a father is present.
Yeah.
You know, even if the father is not necessarily present in a sense of the relationship, but for the child, like
yeah.
it's just, there's something about going to that appointment and also listening and also educating yourself on that. And though, out of respect for my son, I would never badmouth my ex-husband, but I will say that that was very disappointing for me, and it took me years to get over that disappointment. Not for myself, for my son. It's actually funny that you asked me this question. Lamar and I just had a conversation, if you don't mind, Lamar. We just had a conversation, and two of us have many intimate conversations with each other because he's quite matured. And he watched so for people that don't know, the rapper Fat Joe, he's got a child that's got autism, and the relationship didn't work out with the child's mother. And Lamar came across the video that Fat Joe, because he loves rap music.
Like the mother?
Yeah. Saw the video, and then saw the article was that Fat Joe had been raising his son by himself for the most part, and then he got married then, and of course he had support from his wife to raise his son. And he said to me, wow, how wonderful is that, mommy, that he went to go and raise his son by himself. I wish I could have had that experience with my dad. So that was the hardest. But the most hardest thing is society. The stigma that people still have around it. And you know what? For the most part, I don't blame people.
Yeah.
If there is a child that is acting up and that is having a little tantrum now in the mall, it is such a natural action to say, ja, second wees tot. Correct, man, you know. You've heard the story of Salome talking about.
I wanted to mention that story now, the aeroplane.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was it that she was saying?
She said she was sitting and the kids behind her was like kicking a seat at the back. And that's where she realized, I think she said that's where she realized maybe something is wrong with them. They're not naughty or so, but maybe they have like a special need or autism.
Yeah. Because of the sounds in the plane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me, who was your biggest supporters when you found out that Lamar was diagnosed?
So, for me, it just comes back to my sister and family again. So I felt, and maybe this can be a nice tip for somebody that is in my situation, or is going through that stage of my life.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be best to take all the information that the neurologist gave and the education that I gave myself. And I had a meeting with my entire family. So nephews, nieces, sisters, and then the people that is the most closest to our family, meaning the people that potentially Lamar can go to. So if Sandra is going to visit Salome's best friend, Perry, I invited Perry and her husband. So people that I know possibly he could interact with or go and visit, things like that. I had a meeting with everybody. And I explained to them, this is how the autism spectrum works, and this is where Lamar falls in. And this is how it's going to be when he's going to be at your house. So be aware of it, respectful of it as well. And then also, you need to be aware of the fact that people also has grandkids and friends that has, kids is going to come around. So, I mean, I'm not going to say now use every opportunity to educate, but if he's going to be in the presence, pull the mom aside and she gets a little bit annoyed by his triggers or whatever the case may be. But my biggest supporters, I would definitely say it was my sisters. Like I just explained to you in the beginning, they all bring a different quality in my life. Because Sandra had my summa van die beginning, I was saying, kijk eens, girl, I'm not gonna, ek gaan nie open up saam met jou ry na elke appointment doen. And I was thinking to myself, I was thinking to myself, is she really for real now? Because I remember I'm the baby sister, so Allah, my hankie must have fast with Alice. And I was so shocked that she told me that she was not going to go with me. And you know what? That was the biggest blessing in my life. Because today I can instill that same quality in my son. And it made me feel like, you know what? I can do it. And obviously not in the moment, Ellen. But years later, we obviously had that conversation. And she said that she needed me to do that for my own self, for my own soul. And perhaps you don't see the blessing in things when it happens to you. Perhaps it's a good idea that the dad wasn't around to do that, or that my sister didn't go with me. Would the Rainbow Step Foundation come about? Would I have been able to educate people and talk to a whole lot of people and give them help the way I'm doing now? I don't know if I could have had that confidence. It's Sandra now nog my hankie was.
And I wanted to ask now, yes, how did that tough love shape you to the person you are today? But clearly, thank you, Sandra.
Yeah.
So Samantha, you used your journey and you turned it into something positive. Like you started the Rainbow Step Foundation. Tell us about how did that come about and where we are today with the Rainbow Step Foundation.
Okay, so the Rainbow Step
Oh, big ups
Foundation.
to few of the team members
Yes,
of the Rainbow Step
hey.
Foundation.
So, the Rainbow Step Foundation really started in my car. So, Nita, that is not here. Like, whenever, Nita and I drive, I work in corporate and we go to the same building. So, we talk about our dreams all the time. And it started basically in the car. I would tell her about all the plans. I would tell her, you know what? I really want to have a room full of people that went through what I'm going through, that is still going through it. And I want to have professionals there, and I want them to come there and give those people the necessary help that they have. Because years ago, when I found out Lamar was diagnosed with autism, a friend of mine I spoke to, and I said to her, I don't know how I'm going to afford to get Lamar into a good school that's going to improve his speech and all the challenges that he has. And she called me maybe like 5 minutes after I told her, and she said to me, I've got an application form here for an American sponsorship organization, because she worked at the school at the time, and you can try to email those people for sponsorship, but I don't know if it's going to happen. And I emailed my whole story, and it took a whole month to get this thing going. Enrolled my son into another school that was not as expensive, just to see if they will help. And a month from the application, I got to my desk at work, and I received an email to say that Lamar got a full scholarship from the United States, from a company called Wellsprings International, and he got it for 5 years. And part of my conversation with Nita was that I might not be able to be a Wellsprings International that's going to be able to pay for tuition for every child, but I do feel like with the little that I have, by educating people about the stigmas, the stereotypes, how they can help the children, how the broader society can have a little bit more compassion. If I can start with getting a room full of people that's like-minded together, because I didn't have that. I didn't know where would I go to talk to other mothers about what I was going through. And then we took a trip to Spain last year, and when we came from Spain, so Asma felt I can do anything. And I made videos of Lamar on TikTok, and then when I was done telling my story, I was like, no man, I really want to start a foundation. And then Nita and I was talking again, and I said to her, I'm going to start a foundation. And she said, yes, let's start a foundation. And that's really how the concept all came together.
And let's go through some of the workshops you had. So we had...
Yes.
We had. Mind you, we had.
Oh, yes.
4?
Yes, it's 4 now.
Just briefly tell us how each one was, what each one was about, the theme of each one.
Okay, so
and what was the outcome for you?
Okay, so the workshops is mirroring my story, because I never want to be an inauthentic person that is having a workshop and I'm just talking out of the sky. I always like to have a workshop that speaks to what my experience was as well. So the first workshop was my child has special needs, so what now? So that's about what do I do when I found out? Where do I go? What do I, like I was just telling you now, I just found out, so what's the next step? The second one was it takes a village and you are not alone. So I had my family and
Yeah.
people were there, support systems. And then the third one was beyond the classroom and inclusion in education and how everybody should include special needs kids within the education system. And the one that we just had
Yes.
last week was, wat is het nou weer geweest? Ag. My child has special needs and I never gave up. So at the very start, when I started this whole thing with my amazing group of friends, first of all, shout out for you to giving me the platform to talk about it because I was just like, is people gonna want to come and listen to me? Anyway, so at first it was a little bit slow because I don't really think that people really understood what
Yeah.
it was all about. Is it a support group? Is it courses? Is it a speech? What is it all about? So it was a little bit slow because people didn't really get it. And then I think from the second workshop, people started realizing, and just from the conversations that I've had with people at the workshops and like in my DMs and stuff, people started realizing, you know what, it's okay for us to speak about this. It's okay for us to, get together with other parents that's going through the same thing. It's okay to have a conversation
Yeah.
about this. You don't need to stay in that denial space because that denial space, if you stay in it too long, how is your child going to excel? And that child needs to be a student. So like in the society, that child needs to be something. He's going to be your colleague.
Yeah.
He's going to be somebody's husband. So you're not just helping your child for now, but also for whatever is to come in the future. And we want to have children to be successful.
And tell me, how has it this last 4 workshops? How has it shaped you as a person from the time you started the foundation to when we had the last one?
I will say that because the topics are so personal to me, every topic almost feels like it's my baby that's growing. It's like another baby that is growing for me. It's definitely has grown a lot from where it started. And how it shaped me is that I never ever knew that I would make such a huge impact on people and just what they're going through in their daily lives. I mean, I have people that come up to me that says they never knew that there was a space like this where they can come and feel inspired. And it's not all gloomy and sad and all of that things. It's going to take a little bit of time for you to go and walk to the social worker, go and see this speech therapy. That it's going to take a lot of effort from you. But the thing is, what I try to do at the workshop, and this is where it comes with me making an impact. Every time I finish a workshop, if it's not you, it's Nita, somebody in the team that I work on their nerves, and I always ask, did I make did I make an impact, Lynn? Did I make an impact? Did they understand it? Did they get the message? So what I mean by that is the last one was my child has special needs and I never gave up. What I always ask and work on you guys' nerves, what I'm trying to say is that even somebody that came there that didn't necessarily come there because their child had special needs, but they came with a friend or they came to support me. Did you feel like you now never needed to give up? We have speakers that is blind, that has got degrees, that has a successful lives. Is that not a message for you that is doubting if you should register for that course, if you should start that podcast,
Yes.
if you should apply for that job? It should also be a message for you to say that, you know what, if these kids are struggling with things daily, people's stigmas, parents being looked at funny, appointments that you need to go and attend, if a family that can go through all of that, or a person that is going through all of that challenges is going through that, what makes you feel like you can't do it? It should be a message for everybody not to give up. It should be a message for everybody to lean on their village. It should be a message for everybody to know that even if they're not a teacher, when they go to a school and they see, but something is funny now, somebody's not playing with that boy, find out why is nobody interacting with that child. So I want the workshops to have a lasting impact on each and every person's life, Call that person that you haven't called in a long time. When last did you tell somebody, I love you, that is in your corner? Because we tend to focus on all the people that is not in our corner. Oh, she didn't call me. Oh, can you believe she doesn't support me? But your sister and your auntie and your uncle, wat jou elke dag bel om te hoor gaan het, you never think about, I need to go check up on that person. No, no,
How are you
you
doing?
know?
Even though they don't check up on you.
Okay.
Yes. Tell me, what can you tell those parents who are still in denial? They don't want to admit that, my child has a special need.
It's such a difficult thing to say, but I always say that if you're finding yourself in that space where you are a little bit in denial and you're just like, you know what, maybe this is like a white people diagnosis. 'Cause people tend to do that sometimes as well. Maybe this is something else that's going on in my child. Maybe it's the home environment. Maybe it's the bullying that's going, and you don't want to actually face the fact that there is a neurodivergent issue that you need to address. I always say, think to yourself that you need to take your ego out of it. The more you, as a parent, as a caregiver, stay in that space of, oh no, not my child, I can't, the longer you prolonging that speech therapy that should be taking place, that OT appointment, that other mother that you could have met at the workshop, having other parents educating, start by watching a YouTube video. But don't just watch a YouTube video because you want to educate yourself on potentially my child has autism or ADHD, whatever. Watch a video of another parent that is going through it. Try and see how somebody came out on the other end. I watched, and at our workshop, there was a video of parents that was talking about how the doctors were saying, you could do something about your child that is going to be born with Down syndrome, and they didn't give up and they carried on with the pregnancy, and the child was born, and it was said that the child's never going to be able to talk one day, the child's never going to be able to excel at school one day, and the Down syndrome child is the best friend to the other child in the family. That child is like the light in the whole family. That child is the one that brings hope to the entire family. So the sooner you get your ego out of it, maybe your child is there to teach you something, and how magical and beautiful and colorful the world actually is,
Do you regret any parts of your journey?
I don't regret any parts of my journey. I will say that I'm sure a lot of people that is in that situation maybe feels the same way. I did question at first when Lamar was first diagnosed. I did question, why is this happening to me? My marriage just ended. I'm heartbroken. Why is it that I'm going to have to do, why am I given this? I am dealing with so much right now. Why is it that I am a single mother now, and now I'm going to have to deal with my son having this neurodivergent obstacle as well? Well, it's not an obstacle, it ended up being a blessing to me. And then the more I got to take him to school, the more I got to know him actually, I realized, but you know what? This is not something to regret or to feel sorry for myself at all. Because my son really taught me something that till now, like I have conversations with him and I'm like, whoa. I'll give you an example. When Lamar was a lot younger, I used to think to myself, the way he watches cartoons, there's something very interesting about it. And then I would think to myself, man, I think it was just the channel that he changed. But then I would come back again. Lamar used to be into Mickey Mouse. So like just like any other child, you would think, okay, Mickey Mouse, they're gonna watch a series, and then I would really take note of it, and Lamar would actually watch how was Mickey Mouse created. What was Mickey Mouse called before? Oh, it was in black and white. And then went from black and white, it went from there. And how was the Minnie Mouse character? By the way, hulle sê man en vrou nie, hulle nie hulle sê broer of iets soos daai, né? You know? And like all these little things about him made me realize, wow, this is actually so fantastic, that I thought to myself, why is this happening to me? And to be honest with you, Lynn, I thank God it happened to me. I thank God that I was blessed with a child that sees the world differently. Yes, sure. Sometimes I'm just like, are we really having a conversation about I'm looking at this thing now, and you want to know how what the LP was made or how this and that. Hoekom gaan ons nou weer terug by 'n ou sielrig man? So like on a daily basis, he teaches me so much about life, and that's again about the denial part. If you really tap into whatever it is that makes that child so magical, it's going to teach you something about yourself that you never actually knew.
Tell me, what can we expect from the Rainbow Step Foundation?
Okay, so the Rainbow Step Foundation.
Next workshop.
Yes, the next workshop, by the way, everybody, the next workshop is going to be on the 25th of April.
Yeah.
We are still cooking up the topics and all of that stuff, so there's a lot of exciting news that's coming there. But the next workshop and the next workshops to come, our team has now really looked at a lot of things. We have connected you guys now. We have inspired you guys now. But what we do want to do now is move into a space of, yes, sure, there's a possibility that you are in denial, but you that is feeling like that, let the Rainbow Step Foundation give you a little bit of relief. Write into us, email us, and tell us what it is that you're going through. Perhaps you're thinking, the school has not given me a lot of issues. I can see at home. So we would like to have parents now come forward, and we want to be able to pay for a child to get diagnosed, because the waiting list is like 3, 6, sometimes up to 8 months to get these diagnoses. So we want to run these workshops, and there's going to be a small fee, but it's all going to go towards this child or possibly children that's going to be diagnosed this year. And that would be the first step for somebody, just like I got an opportunity with Lamar years ago. The Rainbow Step Foundation is going to bless another child, and we're going to start by the diagnosis. And hopefully, as the Rainbow Step Foundation grows, we can eventually pay for people's tuition. That would be the long-term goal.
And who all are allowed to attend these workshops? Is it anyone, or is it just parents who has children with special needs?
I definitely think that the Rainbow Step Foundation's workshop is for everyone. Because, like I said, the message that our topics that we have, we are going to let you come there, and we want you to implement this lesson in your life. But not just that, whatever the lesson is going to be in your life, that you're going to walk away from there to feel like, you know what, I am now inspired to take the next step. There is not a person that I've come across, whether it was my sisters, whether it was in a friend group, that's ever just been like, you know what, I've got it all together. Just think about your own friend group that you get together with. Whenever you get together, there's always somebody that will bring up something that will either be like, I always wanted to do photography, or I always wanted to, somehow, as you're at the bride, there will always be those kind of conversations that come up. And the thing is, it is for that person as well, to come and see, wow, look at all of these things that these parents are going through and what they have overcome. So now I can do the next thing as well. So I don't want to give away too much of the next workshop that we are going to run, but it is going to be surrounded a lot around communication, because a lot of autistic kids are non-verbal. And if you think about a child that is non-verbal, and you often think about big children in your family, that it's so easy for you to say, little Johnny, don't you want to quickly go get me a glass of water? You don't even think about it. And the child gets the water, and there you go about your day. And all of those things is not that easy with a child with neurodivergence. So I know this is your show, but I just want to give a little bit of an idea of where I'm coming from. So this is kind of like the idea. So if I tell you love, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Sam.
Oh, that is so nice. So why do you say that?
Because I don't think anyone can do what they're doing if they're not loving what they're doing. It's through your love for Lamar that you are doing this. That is why I say Sam. Because if you did not accept the fact that Lamar has autism, or if you didn't love him the way you do, your family loves him, I don't think you would have started the foundation today.
Okay, your chance. Ask me any letter that comes to your mind.
Yeah, I think you should choose.
Um, Let me think of something. Perseverance. Okay, so I chose perseverance because that has literally been like the catalyst or like the theme of everything that I've gone through that led me to where I am now. Um, there's I speak about my journey to everybody, leading up to the foundation, and it can sound like it was very easy to get to here. But the thing is, this like when I say perseverance, nobody actually knows what I felt like when I go and lay my head down after everybody. Lamar's now calmed down, and I'm talking about now in the thick of the autism life. Sleeping was his sleeping patterns was really hard, and it's very hard because there's a lot of things that cannot necessarily be explained with a child that has a very little speech and that cannot comprehend. So if I'm saying, do you know you need to go to bed at 8, or you need to go to, he's just like, go to bed at 8. Hell no, we're not going to bed at 8. And he couldn't put the two together about no, but it's playtime now, and it needed to be like a constant thing. We're going to bed at 8, and it never, if for a long time, it used to be a fight, and the potty training was another thing. To put the mind together of what should happen when you go, like I used to have stickers that used to tell him he needs to do this and this and this that happened in the bathroom. So I'm sharing a very small part of it, and it just sounds now because I'm on the other end that it wasn't that bad. But when you're actually in it and you think to yourself, oh my word, I'm actually so exhausted. But you are exhausted and you can't complain about it.
Yeah.
You are exhausted, and this is what you need to do. That you need tomorrow, you need to stand up and you need to face this day again, and you think to yourself, am I ever going to get out of this? Am I ever going to get out of it? And now I find myself years later, through this journey of perseverance with Lamar, I now see that, you know what, all of this also should have happened because I needed to meet Lynn, and I needed to be on Lynn's podcast. I needed to meet my wonderful team that's in the Rainbow Sea Foundation. I needed to meet my partner and his parents that show up for me all the time, that is like the biggest supporters of the foundation. And then also, I needed to show up for Lamar so that Lamar can see that I'm going to be a mom that's never going to give up on him. But not only am I never going to give up on him, he is never going to be able to give up on himself. And that anything is going to be possible for him. Autism is not the defining fact in his life. It's not who he is. He is Lamar, and yes, he's got traits of autism. But he's also amazing in technology. He's got great taste in music. He can become anything he wants to be, and his life is literally going to be a testimony to any other child that is ever going to have to come across, whether the child has autism or not, to know that whatever you want to achieve as my friend or as my cousin, or it's possible. And it's all possible because my mom did it. So yeah. Now I'm wearing very nice lashes.
So yeah, I think we have come to the end of the show. Before we go, Lamar is here, Samantha. In a short sentence, what would you like to say to Lamar?
Man. I know that you always like to make fun of me. You're probably going to make fun of me in this moment again, but I just always want you to know that even though we had that conversation and you were telling me the other day, about Fat Joe and how much it meant to you to see the relationship between a rapper, and you think to yourself, maybe it's such a silly conversation that me and you had, and you feel to yourself like, look how that daddy showed up for their child. I just want you to know that no matter what it is, no matter what you dream, I'm paying a lot of money for your school fees, so I'm not really thinking that I want you to go into YouTubing. But whatever it is that you ever want to achieve in life, I just want you to know, just as I've been your number one supporter from the moment that all of these things happen, from the moment it's just been me and you, it's always going to be me and you. I see you. You are worthy. You've always been worthy. And even if people think that you're a little bit quirky, or even if you feel like a little bit different because your interests can be quite wild, just know that I always want you to stay as cool as you are, because you are my cool cat, man.
Samantha, thank you very much for joining me on the very first show.
Yes.
And then I just want to say to every parent, to anyone who is navigating through a journey, just remember that you're stronger than you think, and you're not alone. So from me, Kay, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on the Unfiltered and United, the very first episode. And stay tuned for more. Yeah.